Hey guys, it's Spider Pig here. So somebody asked me on the forum to fly to Groom Lake, known as Area 51. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be flying the Mirage 2000C to Area 51 with the Oculus Rift on, and we'll see how she goes. And we're also going to talk about some stuff about Area 51 related, because I like talking about Area 51. Let me go ahead and click on. Alright, so let's go flying to Area 51. Let me just move everything around here. So right now we're starting at Nellis, and we're going to go ahead and fly to Area 51. Make sure everything's okay. Let me turn my radar on. I don't think there's any bad bogeys there, but there is. Okay. The radar is that down there. Okay. So let's take off here. And the Mirage is looking as beautiful as ever. Apparently she got some updates. I haven't really done anything with her in a while. And I'll also talk about this channel and why there hasn't been any videos recently. So let's talk about that first, since we're taking off here. There really hasn't been new videos because there really hasn't been new modules out to fly with the Oculus Rift. It did kind of test out, so I really haven't done too much with this channel. Flying wise, I mean, I'm still flying with the, a lot, but not much with the Oculus Rift, because I'm waiting for the release version to come out, which is coming out the end of this month. There's the racetrack right there. And so when that comes out, I think there'll be more videos, obviously, because I'll retest everything again with the Oculus Rift. And if I'm not mistaken, Area 51 is this way. Okay. So we'll do some low-level runs in these mountains here. Okay, that's a little scary. Flying upside down again is very scary. So, since we're going to Area 51, let's talk about UFOs. A subject that I kind of like, because I think it's misunderstood in a lot of ways. So, when people talk about UFOs, they are typically implying a little alien ship, or a big alien ship, from another planet, piloted by aliens from not this dimension or space or time or, or planet, which could be a possibility, but in a technical definition of UFO is unidentified flying object. So anything that you and I cannot identify in the sky would technically classify. I happen to know more airplanes and things that fly than most people, so I would be able to identify more objects in the sky than most people. But if you're asked by a 5-year-old or 6-year-old daughter, what is that in the air, they might not be able to know, and to them it's an unidentified flying object. So people usually just jump to the conclusion that it's an alien spaceship and, it's from another planet or another time. But there's definitely a lot of different interpretations. So when I say UFO, I'm sticking to the actual definition of an unidentified flying object. Now, there's, I think, 3 categories they fall into. First of all, is naturally made. So there's things like lightning balls and things like that, most people would not be able to identify as being made by nature, and might classify them as a UFO. Which, in all fairness, they can't identify it, and therefore it is. So, there's things that are naturally made that might fool most people. So, that's the first kind of definition. Second definition is what I think most likely are people saying is some sort of aircraft or man-made device. The Area 51 is well known for kind of flying things that don't look like airplanes. If you look at the F-117, it doesn't really look like an airplane that we were used to back in that time. So if you saw something like that, you would definitely think, hey, that looks like a UFO. Not to mention that they only flew it at night, and it didn't really help to add to the thing, and it can definitely do some crazy things. And if you look at the F-22, the F-22 can do maneuvers that most airplanes kind of shouldn't be able to do. So if you saw one flying at night just with lights, you might be thinking it's doing something weird. And there was a report back, I think in the 60s or 70s, that the CIA constantly actually flew things with lights to make it look like UFOs, to kind of hide secret technology from the Russians. I forget the article. If I can find it, I'll link it below. It's actually a pretty interesting read. But, so there's a lot of man-made things out there that could be confused for UFOs. Now, these days, it's so much more easier to confuse people because a lot of people can dress up a drone to look like a UFO and fly it around. In fact, there's many UFO kits for drones for that specific purpose. So, hey, you know, it's one of those things that we kind of will see more and more of. Now, the third is, you know, something that was not from man-made, not from this planet, and from somewhere else. Now, it could be, you know, little green men flying a spaceship, or it could be a comet, or it could be something, you know, a rock or something flying from another, you know, outside of our, you know, planet, which is totally capable, you know, of happening. So, that's the little UFO talk. I think there's, you know, definitely something out there, but, you know, people also say, I guess the other big controversy is there life on other planets? To me, there's most definitely life on other planets, because when you and I say life on other planets, I am referring to any living organism. That could be a one-cell organism, as long as it's alive on another planet, that's good enough for me. But when most people say, is there life on other planets, they refer to intelligent life that can actually communicate with us. Well, imagine we went to Mars or any other planet and we saw a dog or a cat. You know, it's got some sort of level of intelligence and it could probably communicate with us. Would you say that there's life on the other planet if we met a dog or a cat? I don't know. I would still think it's life. But, you know, I think when people kind of are expecting from aliens, they're expecting kind of, you know, somebody that can communicate with us and, you know, do all the kind of cool things that we see. And, you know, whether that exists, I would like to think so. I think, you know, there's probably is some sort of intelligent life out there. Whether we'll be able to find it within our lifetime, I don't know. But, you know, it's a huge galaxy out there, and we haven't explored a lot of it. So I'm hoping someday that we'll be able to see it. Now, the other thing is, you know, you talk about, you know, life on other planets. We are constantly sending stuff to Mars and the moon, and stuff that we send typically is kind of clean. In fact, that doesn't have any kind of organisms from Earth on it, but you never know. For all intents and purposes, we could be actually transmitting something to Mars that hasn't been there before. It could be bringing life to Mars in, you know, single-celled organism, things like that. But hey, what do I know? So it could be that right now there might not be any something on Mars, but maybe a million years from now, because of the rovers that we landed on there could be. I don't know. But, you know, we'll have to see. So, I don't know where we are, but I think we're still flying in the right direction. Let me get a little altitude, see if I can see it. Now, the other reason why I haven't posted a lot of videos on this channel has to do with a recent event. Well, recent events, I guess you'd say, that happened. So, some of the guys I fly with work for a one of the third-party vendors for ED, and they asked me to do some lines for them for some missions, and I did that. And then they mentioned that they're looking for coders, and since I happen to know how to code, I offered my services, and I've been kind of training with them on how to code, so that's been keeping me busy as well. Now, I cannot mention anything else because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, so that's all I'm going to say. But, again, once the Oculus Rift production version comes out, then I will definitely do more videos. And once I'm allowed to talk about anything that I'm working on with this other company, I will definitely talk about that. But right now, mum's the word. So, let's see if we can find Area 51. I have no clue where I am. Let me keep going north here. I don't know if I have my kneeboards in here. I don't have my kneeboard thingy. I'll just keep going north, see what happens. Let's get low and fly a little low. So, you know, if you have any conspiracy theories about aliens and stuff like that, yeah, leave it below in the comments. I'll have to read it. I'm always a big fan of conspiracy theories, but I do like to see, look at both sides very, very well. I'm not just one of those, oh yeah, that believes everything I read. I kind of take a look at things in a more scientific kind of method and, things like that. So, if you got something you want me to look into, I'll look into it, I think there's some really good conspiracies out there, and I like reading about them, but, I guess if you, since we're talking about Groom Lake and things like that, if you asked about the moon landing, I will tell you, I don't think we faked it. And I have kind of seen all the good evidence about whether we landed on the moon or not. And I think that, when you look at all that, you gotta have to look at the other side as well. So, one of the things I always like about conspiracy theories is it's kind of easy to go crazy and suggest all these ideas. Same thing, with the JFK assassination. It's easy to say there's more than one shooter and all that stuff. But it's also interesting that, you can actually prove, especially with the JFK assassination, that one person could have fired all those bullets within that time. After all, they were a trained Marine at one point, so it is possible. But it's easy to say, well, there's no way one person can shoot that many rounds that accurately within 10 seconds. Well, you have to prove both sides. While there is lots of good evidence that yes, there might be other people out there, it's kind of nice to see that hey, somebody actually tried to prove that hey, you could do it within 10 seconds. Now the other thing is about the moon landing. While there's lots of good evidence that we might have faked it, there is also, you got to look at the technology side of it. Back then, we didn't have nice video recording capabilities like we have now. It wasn't easy to replay back, video and things like that. So, most of the conspiracy theories say that, they slowed down the film or they sped up the film and stuff like that. We didn't really have that kind of cool technology back then to be able to do that. So, from a technological perspective, we didn't have the technology to fake the moon landing besides, building a movie set and things like that. I mean, that we could do, but that looks like Rachel over there. Am I too far north? So it's just, I always like to look at both sides. Now, it's also easy to prove that we went to the moon because we left stuff there that you could bounce a laser off and kind of, make sure things are still there. So it's, and we send probes to the moon, and you can see the stuff that's still there. We left rovers there. We left a lot of different things there, flags there, and stuff like that. So, let me see. Let me take a look at the F10 map and see where I am. Hold on. All right. Let me click on me. Yeah, we are way north of Groom Lake. Okay, let's head south. So, again, if you got any conspiracies you want to talk about, leave it below. We'll talk about conspiracies. I'll give you my opinion about them. Again, I'm more of an educated guy, so I tend to look at more scientific things, and I don't believe everything I read, kind of thing. So, it's we can have a good discussion about conspiracy theories and aliens and things like that. I definitely think the government is hiding a lot of stuff from us, but whether that's alien technology or not, I don't know. When we get to Groom Lake, we'll take a look and see if we can see the caves where apparently they're hiding the UFOs. Now, one of the cool things about Groom Lake, and I don't know if I'll get this guy's name right, but I believe it's Robert Lester or something like that. Apparently there's this guy that apparently worked in Area 51 on reverse engineering alien space technology. And I'll forget his name and see if I can link it below. But from what he said, he was recruited, and he worked basically on reverse engineering this alien technology, and he had like a whole big thing about how everything worked and kind of cool stuff like that. And he's the one who said that there's these caves near Area 51 where they keep the alien ships and they fly them at night. And according to him and his wife and a couple of his friends like used to go out and actually, like watch when they tested these things. And I don't know. Some people say he's credible, and some people say he's not credible. But it's kind of an interesting story to begin with. But he claims that the government's trying to like ruin his career and stuff like that. But I guess that would make sense. But he's an interesting read. If you want to take a look at the UFO, especially space alien technology side of Groom Lake. Groom Lake, for those of you who do not know, was originally designed as a secretive kind of airbase to test aircraft out in. And that's typically what it's used for. The F-117 kind of trained there. I think like the SR-71. There's a lot of black projects that train there that, kind of got their start there. So let me actually look where I am again. Yeah, I'm in there. Good. Yeah, I think it's right there. So it's kind of a nice little base, and once we fly over it, I'll take a look. And we'll take a look. There's a couple runways. There's one huge runway, and they were kind of talking about how it was for space vehicles because they need a longer runway and things like that. But I believe like the SR-71 also kind of got its start here, and there's a lot of jets that needed a lot more runway, so that's why they kind of had two runways. One of them apparently is abandoned nowadays, and one of them is still in use. I believe they also test like foreign aircraft, like if they manage to get their hands on enemy technology and stuff like that. This is where they test it as well. It used to be that you can actually get within fairly close to Area 51, but nowadays I don't think it looks like Area 51. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Oh, it is. Okay, yeah. So nowadays you can't because they keep quarantining more and more space around it. So that's the long runway right there. And that's the short one on the other side of it. Let me see if I can kind of get closer to that one. As you can see, there's a huge difference between the long one and the short one. And that one kind of a band. You can see the markings on it. And let's go ahead and see if we can just do a little flyby here in Area 51. Yeah, apparently in these mountains right here, down here is where they keep the alien spaceships. Somewhere in caves. I don't know. I haven't seen them. But there's Area 51. There is a flight, apparently daily. I think it's the daily flight that goes out of Las Vegas. That they call them Janus flights because that's the code name that they use when they call the tower. And they fly people in and out of Groom Lake. There's another runway right there, like a kind of a weird looking runway, like on the sand basically. So Janus flights are basically like they're basically unmarked aircraft that bring people in and out of Area 51, and they have their own little terminal in McLaren Airport, and they're pretty cool. So let me get down. I believe they also bus people in there somehow. Alright, air brakes are on. Let's see if I remember how to land this thing. Alright, let me get my gears down. Let's just go see if it's turn around. And hopefully you've enjoyed this flight. I know I have. And I'm looking forward to, the end of the month where the Oculus Rift comes out. And hopefully, I ordered mine pretty early, so hopefully mine will get here at the end of the month for the first batch. I had a friend of mine who actually was a little bit earlier than me, so We'll see which one of us gets it first. My computer is all ready for it, so I did all the upgrades and things like that. So the one minor thing I changed was I got rid of the M2 hard drive because it kept crashing every time there's like a little movement on the computer. So I ended up getting rid of that and just using my SSD hard drive for the flight simulator, and basically I have an external hard drive for the videos and stuff like that. I use the SSD hard drive not only for the simulator but for the OS as well, so everything boots up nice and quickly and everything kind of works. I got the 16 gigs of RAM. I upgraded the CPU to an i7 7900K. I haven't really overclocked it or anything. I don't think I did. I think it kind of does it by itself at this point because of the motherboard has the software that kind of does it for me. And that's pretty much it. I did get the PCI USB 3 card, which has 5 USB 3 ports, which is more than enough. I know I'm supposed to be in a different mode. I keep forgetting how to put that mode on, but I don't know. We'll figure it out later. But I got plenty of landing room here, so let's see if we can land her. Okay, I'm getting closer. Getting closer to the ground. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Oh. Whoa. Okay. That was a rough landing with her. Ah! I don't know why she does that. Maybe I need to do something on the ground. I have to figure out how. I'll leave her here. I'll park her right here. But hope you enjoyed the flight, and leave any kind of comments below about Groom Lake, what you know about it, what you think goes on here, and things like that. So enjoy.